it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm designing a layout for Papermaze, and this month I'm working with the really beautiful Simple Vintage Winterwoods collection from Simple Stories, and I really love this collection. It's so beautiful, real muted neutral tones with just a hint of sort of a mint colour to it. Perfect for winter layouts, but it's just really pretty, so I'm really excited to be working with this one, and it is available on the website already, so do go on over and check it out. So for today's layout, I've started with the Frosty Friends patterned paper, and it's gorgeous, really beautiful snowflakes on the background in different colours, and it's got some kind of text stamps as well that fade out, really pretty, really rustic. And I'm really lucky because I've got a few recent photos of my little boy in the snow, and where I live it doesn't snow very often. It kind of snows everywhere around us but not where we live in the Chilterns. But a few weeks before Christmas it did snow one Sunday night. We just had one night of snow, and it was so cold following it that the snow stayed on the ground for about 2 weeks, and it was really lucky that on the Monday, so the day after it snowed, I had the afternoon off work. It was my Christmas shopping afternoon that I get off. So I was able to go down and pick my little boy up from school, which I don't normally get to do because I work at his school, so we're just sort of automatically there already. But I got to go and pick him up and do the school run, and we, before getting back in the car, we went over the fields and had a bit of a play in the snow. So I couldn't help but snap a few photos. So that's what I'm scrapping today. And the coat that my little boy is wearing actually works perfectly with this collection. It was almost like the two were made for each other. So I'm taking full advantage of that and bringing in some of that mint colour from the collection. So I've got the Frosty Friends paper here. I'm actually going to mat that with a layer of one of the basic cardstocks behind it, that gorgeous, almost, rather than mint, I suppose it's more like a duck egg blue kind of colour. And I've just left a really thin border of that around the edge of that pattern paper just to highlight the snowflakes and just bring in a little bit of colour. And I've also matted my photos with the same colour. Now here's where I decide, am I going to be brave or not? Now anyone that knows me knows I love a white background, and the thought of having pattern paper background usually terrifies me. But I wasn't sure on this layout whether to go with white or one of the darker colours of the basics cardstock, and I was toying with that kind of stony coloured one, but I decided that everything I want to make for this layout is going to kind of sit on top of that patterned paper that I've cut and torn. So I'm going to make the layout and then decide at the end, I'm going to cheat, decide at the end which background to go with. So yeah, I've trimmed that pattern paper down. I think it's about 8 inches across, and then I've torn the bottom edge for a bit of texture and interest, and it's something I like to do. I think I've done that a few times now. I just love a torn edge. I'm distressing the edges of everything I put on. I'm using a couple of the kind of journaling cards, almost like calendar cards, from the Bits and Pieces pack, one that says snow and one that says chill. So I've layered those behind my photo. I've stapled them together because I love staples in a layout. I remember when I first saw somebody use staples, I was like, what are they doing? But actually I've come to really love them. So I've stapled those together. It's just another texture on the page, and it's a bit more interesting than just sort of sticking them together with double-sided tape or wet glue. I've torn the bottom edges off because I wanted to slot them behind my photos, and I've kept those bottom parts because they've also got words on, so I can use them on another page sort of underneath photos. So I've got those in the top. I'm trying to figure out what I want to use for my title at the moment, and I'm going with that lovely Wonder foam sticker. I love the foam stickers with Simple Stories. They're always gorgeous fonts, and there's little bits on there as well that you can use to embellish your layout, so I really love those. And I went with Wonder because I felt like the colour showed up really nicely against that patterned paper background. And then I've used some alphabet stickers just for my stash, to make the word snow, so that my title is Snow Wonder. And I quite like that as a title because we don't often get the snow, so we're wearing a bit of wonder. And because I've raised my photos up on foam, and my title is overlapping the photos, the bottom part of the title is hanging off with no contact to my background. So I've just added a bit of foam under the bottom there, so my title is stuck down and making contact all over. Now the pack I've emptied out on my desk here is the woodland bits and pieces, and it's gorgeous. It's got lots of snowflakes that are kind of like a wood grain brown colour. Again, perfect for my little boy's coat because the hood and the zip part on his coat are brown. So it was brilliant to be able to bring in a bit of that colour. So I've sort of gone through this pack. You get snowflakes, you get animals, and you get tree branches in this pack, and it is, when I say pack, it is packed. There was loads in here. So I've pulled out all of the snowflakes and chosen some patterns and sizes that I like and arranged them going diagonally through my photo. And then I've pulled out a couple of the little birds that are sitting with tree branches or sprigs of leaves, and I've stuck one either side of my photos. They are super cute. I love those. And I'm just going through the collection now. I've got kind of the backbones there and done, so I'm just seeing what little bits I can add. So I've got another of the foam stickers underneath my photo there that says the magic of wintertime. And I'm erasing a few things up on foam pads just so they stand up off the background and give a kind of more of a 3D effect to the page. Looking for just small bits that work here. I've also got a little banner here that I'm going to place at the top that says winter days. Full on winter layout this is. Snow, winter, all of it on the page. And like I said, it doesn't snow here often, so I am making the most of it. And I don't want to add too much more to the layout. I don't want to completely cover that piece of patterned paper. I'm very conscious that I've already covered a lot of it up, and I really do want it to show because it is beautiful. So I'm just looking for some little bits here. So this is the element stickers sheet, and I've just added a couple of little trees, like fir trees, up at the top there behind that left-hand photo. That corner was looking a bit bare. And here's me again, trying to decide whether to go for the darker background or the white. And in the end, I'm brave and I go for this darker sheet from the Cardstock Basics. And I just felt like the darker shade brought out the details and the colours in the rest of the layout, whereas the white was making it look a little bit washed out. So yeah, it's very unusual for me to go for dark, but I did. But I felt like I just needed to finish that edge off somehow. It just looked a bit bland just as it was. So I've taken my scissors and just cut two sections, just two strips off the edges, going diagonal through my layout the same as the snowflakes do. And then I've distressed those edges, and I'm just going to back those with some scrap white cardstock. So I do get a tiny bit of white cardstock in my layout, but not a lot, which is very unusual for me. But I just felt like it needed something. So just adding some double-sided tape to the back and then sticking the white down and then trimming it off where needed. And it just feels like that just gives the background paper a little bit of detail. And then I'm going to doodle a white border on that as well to add in a bit more white, sort of to go with my snow theme. And I think off camera, I don't think I do this on camera, because I think I go to take photos of my layout and then have an idea about stenciling on the background, and I didn't turn the camera back on. But I think I do add, through a snowflake stencil, some distress ink in, I think, is it brushed pewter or something like that? I'll have to pop it in the description box below, but it's kind of like a stony grey colour. And I just add some snowflake stenciling to the background, very subtle, nothing major, but it just brings a little bit of detail and texture to that background paper. And then obviously some white splatters. It wouldn't be a snow layout without white splatters, would it? And that is just watered down white gesso that I use, and I find that it dries and sits on top of the die cuts and the pattern papers and things really well. It doesn't soak in too much. And that is me finished for today. So you can just see in the close-ups here those snowflakes I was telling you that I've stenciled on. And I just think they add a nice bit of detail to the edging there. But yeah, that is me done. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed my first layout with this collection. It is available in the store. I will leave a link in the description box below to take you straight to it. It is a beautiful collection, so well worth checking out. And I'll be back later in the month with another layout. So thanks again for joining me. I'll leave you with the last couple of close-ups, and I'll see you next time.